So what did you discuss in our previous class? From which book? Bhagavad Gita. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Now everyone is away.
So you mentioned that it's very difficult to overcome the pure energy of the Lord. So in Guna, the dream of materialized nature, the binds us in the river with rope.
Yeah.
And also, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioned that he explained that the Lord is showing just in case I can give you one viewer properly and say fine. So much to understand the vision.
Also discuss about the people who surrender and people who don't surrender.
4 types of people.
Mura, Asura.
Okay.
Ability to surrender is directly proportional to one's piety and knowledge.
Ability to surrender is proportional to piety and knowledge. Very good. Where is Shamala Madhu? Prashada.
She was studying.
Okay, yeah. Whatever. Rajkumar, welcome back. We missed you. Where is unless you want to, you can bring a chair if you want. You can bring a chair. Seriously.
This is that.
We also discussed the difference between Sadashiva and Rudra.
Difference between?
Sadashiva and Rudra.
Yes. In what context did you discuss?
Attachment to only Vaishnavas will help us in delivering, and any incarnations which are there in Rajoguna and Panoga, they will not be able to help us in delivering.
Anything else? Till which verse did you do?
16,
You finished 16. 17 you have to start. So who are the 4 types of people who come to Krishna?
Distress, wealth, desiring wealth. Inquisitive.
Asti, Jnani, Jignasi, and one
The person who is in distress, who wants wealth, who wants knowledge, and who is already knowledgeable. Your question is clear, no? Who wants knowledge and who is already knowledgeable, but not of the absolute truth in the highest manner. So these 4 types. What else?
Of these, you already know. Of these, the Jnani is the best.
Huh?
Of these 4, the Jnani is the best.
Of these 4, the Jnani is the best. Did we do that?
No.
the 17.
You are part of Madhavanand Prabhu's group.
I mean, Jnani in the sense, in the context of the verse 16.
Yeah.
But the one who is, I think, now I'm jumping to 17. So,
Okay.
neither of the 4 are actual pure devotees, they are coming for something. And a pure devotee is only coming to the Lord for service, the mode of surrender.
In this context, Prabhu, I was reading, there is 2 categories of people, the wise and the otherwise.
Prabhu, what was your point?
the point was, I think, for a moment I thought 17 was covered, but it was not covered. So I think that he said that the Jnani who is engaged in the devotional service as well,
Yeah.
Of those four, of the Jnani, the one is even higher within the engaged in devotional service. The Jnani with the devotional service is the best.
So let's go to 17 today. 17. Where is Rupanagar Prabhu? Coming.
It's coming. It's taking pressure.
Where is Smriti Mataji? Where is Smriti Mataji? Mataji or Mataji?
I think they are maybe in that room.
Okay, that's going on. That room. Okay. So translation. Of those, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. Of those, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me.
Free from all contaminations of material desires, the distressed, the inquisitive, the penniless, and the seekers after supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. But out of them, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. And of the four orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service is, the Lord says, the best. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that he himself is different from his material body, and when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When knowledge fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of the Lord. So by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material
Amelioration.
and the man is knowledge, all becomes themselves pure. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in knowledge of the Supreme Lord and is at the same time executing devotional service is very dear to the Lord. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, God is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him.
So what are the points?
What doesn't Prabhu say?
By the association of the pure devotees, the other three categories also can be taken. So association is where change.
So the one who has full knowledge and Anya Bilashita Shunyam has no other desires except to serve the Lord is the best kind of devotee.
And he's always, when he's protected and material contamination does not affect him.
Prabhupada sort of gives conclusion that any of the categories, if they associate with devotees, then they will become pure themselves. So association of devotees is very important.
The difference between, this is a question, between 16 and 17, the Jnani that we saw in 16
even he had knowledge, but he had just limited knowledge, right? And 70 had full knowledge without any material ignorance. But the Jnani that we saw in 16 had some material ignorance, right?
Material means he had more penchant for knowledge than for devotion. There are many people, I was like that. When I came to Krishna consciousness, I had a heavy inclination towards Jnana. So Yamunalila sometimes told me, in the past lifetime you are Jnana Yogi. Because I used to like philosophy. I used to go this way, that way, drill this question, that question. Of course, someone patiently answered all my questions, but I was heavily driven by that. I could not tolerate a lecture which did not have excellence in it. And I always used to say, oh, kya lecture hai yaar? Kuch tagada lecture hona chahiye, something like that. I was always used to think like that. And Yamunalila actually, she corrected me. She said, you should not think like that. That itself is a kind of, it's an aparad to, I don't know whether to call it. Of course, if I blaspheme the speaker, then it's an aparad. But being very choosy about, excellence of elements in devotional service is an inhibitor. I don't know whether to call it as aparad. Probably it's not an aparad, but it will inhibit us from relishing the nectar. So we should be able to hear lecture given by anyone. That there should the taste for Krishna Katha given by anyone should be there. Of course, I am not at that platform, but I was worse off before. Obviously, that's why what used to happen was, the risk there is that because if you are too attached to excellence of elements, then you may tend to go outside of ISKCON also sometimes. Just because there is excellence of element available, but then the essential ingredient will not be there. For example, if you see a Bhagavatam class in ISKCON temple, okay, given by a very, probably by a new speaker or a person who is not very flamboyant, or I don't know what is the right word to use.
Eloquent.
Very eloquent, yeah. So if you hear Bhagavatam from that person, and then if you hear Bhagavatam from a professional Bhagavata, definitely in terms of entertainment value, excellence of elements, you will find that sometimes the professional Bhagavatam will be very appealing, because the kirtans, the background music, the emotions, all those things, the speaker's eloquence, everything will surpass. But the problem is that there you will have good entertainment value, but there will be no transformation, because then the philosophy is not as it is. The motive is not to please Krishna. There is something else going on there. The motive is professional, to earn prestige or to earn wealth. These could be the motives. So because the purity is not there, because of that, hearing from such a person will not have much impact. Rather than that, better hear from someone who is pure at heart, who may or may not be eloquent, but then simply by hearing to that person, then there is a definite chance of change of heart. So even in terms of a class, sometimes when someone gives a basic class, then sometimes the mind tells nothing new was told in the class. So this is also a desire for jnana. This is not a sign of bhakti. Bhakti means anya abhilasita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. Our desire must be only the pleasure of the Lord, nothing else. And from whoever's mouth we hear Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam as it is, the heart is so pure that the soul is pure, so it relishes that nectar. Krishna Katha, coming from anywhere. This is mentioned also, I have mentioned in the previous class also. In Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he writes in Madhurya Kadamini that as one progresses in bhakti, one's reliance on the excellence of elements is lesser and lesser. It doesn't mean that our own desire to serve Krishna excellently goes up. But in terms of we hearing from others, or in that sense, our expectations are not of excellence from others. Our expectation is only to hear Krishna Katha. That's all. So that's the difference between the Jnani and the Bhakta. The Jnani has got that the higher penchant is for knowledge, lesser for devotion.
But the Lord here says that...
And they like to do, because of that, they like to do tark vitark. they like to dissect the Sanskrit here and there, and then come up with new meanings, and so one can completely go down another path. That is why Shankaracharya, when he before he left, before he wound up his pastimes, he said, "Samprapte sannihite kale nahi rakshati dukkrin karane." Why did he say that? He said the rules of grammar will not save you at the time of death. So too much knowledge. For example, if you see even in our own congregation, you will find that there are many devotees who are, they may not know the difference between Pradhan and Mahatattva. They may not know the 24 elements. Okay, but if you see them, they'll be very blissful and happy in Krishna consciousness. They are very simple devotees like that. So that is the goal. That is the goal. But so in that sense, if you see, our quest for more and more knowledge becomes a kind of a spot. But in another sense, if you see, all of us have different natures. So Krishna consciousness, Krishna is able to attract us through in different ways. He is able to attract the person who has got a penchant for philosophy through philosophy. He is able to attract a person who has a liking for music through kirtans. He is able to attract people who like to eat through prasadam, connoisseurs of food, if you like. So he will attract like that. So different people are attracted in different ways by the Lord. That is why he is called all attractive. Krishna means all attractive. But pure bhakti means anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavrutam. There is no desire for jnana at all in the realm of pure devotion. All that is required is knowledge of what Krishna wants.
One question here is, we say that there are two types of devotees. One is Bhajananandi and second is Goswanandi. So the second type is required to go out and preach to other people. In order to preach, that jnana is required, isn't it?
Correct.
And of course the bhakti, the jnana, as you described, jnana itself is not sufficient, because here it is explained that devotee is the best person. So that jnana is, if it is being used for the purpose of serving Krishna, then it in itself is bhakti, isn't it?
Correct. So if that jnana is used in propagating the mission of the spiritual master, then it is not called as jnana. Jnana means simply going on reading just for intellectual delight, like that.
So how do you define full knowledge, Prabhuji? So Prabhupada writes here in the purport that one who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotional service, the Lord says is the best.
But out of the four,
That means knowing that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead and I am His servant, and that is, as long as we understand that, is that full knowledge, or how do we do that? So once we are there is no need to then gather more information.
but in this para it's saying out of the four, this one is best. Doesn't that mean like out of the four, this one is better? Or does that mean this is the best?
Best.
It's not saying
The
that
devotee is the best. That's what Lord Krishna is saying.
The full knowledge, can it mean that Jnani 16 only has probably Paramatma or Brahman realization, while the one in 17 has got knowledge, full knowledge means all the three aspects, and on top of that he is engaged in serving.
Correct. You can still understand Krishna is person, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead and not serve him also. That is also possible. That's why Prabhupada is reiterated. In that knowledge one has to do service. Without service then there is then still it is good. At least you are understanding that Krishna is Supreme Personality. At least you are not Mayavadi. From Mayavadi to lazy devotee to active devotee. If you like.
For this full
There
knowledge,
has to be service in that case.
for this full knowledge, can it mean this that you know the essence of all the knowledge, like conclusion of the knowledge? Like if you know the Sambandha, Vidhi and Prayojana, so that can constitute as a full knowledge, right? In this case,
Yes.
not the breadth of the knowledge we are talking about.
No. So, not breadth of knowledge. There is no limit because that breadth is infinity. It is said in Bhagavatam that Lord Krishna can never be understood. Even Brahma cannot understand. How can we understand? That breath, nobody can tap that breath. Because Lord Krishna does not have any boundaries. So the breath is infinite.
He himself cannot understand himself like that. No?
Correct.
Can I also understand that in this case, for the devotees, the Jnani, all the four, Jnani who is engaged in devotion is the best because here God says that there is self-passion. So here he is dear to me and I am dear to him. But as in all other three, it's all one way. They all come, as the four people who come to the flock, so that they come for some benefit.
There also there is reciprocation. Because someone is wanting and someone is giving. But the fact that someone is wanting and has gone to Krishna, Krishna accepts it as reciprocation. At least they are acknowledging that Krishna can give. They are not one of those arrogant people who say, I am a self-made man. At least they are not arrogant. Many people, even in distress, don't go to Krishna. They say that, no, I will sort out the equation of my life. I don't have to I don't believe in God. No, at least they are not those types. At least they are in distress, they are going to the Lord. So they are at least, there is some sense of subordination in their mind, of some supreme power. So the Lord accepts that. At least he is coming to me.
In the next verse, he says that Jnani is the best but honor man.
The next verse is. So, Jnani is the best of these four types. Yeah, you are right. Jnani is the best of these four types. Gurujan Prabhu writes in Surrender Unto Me, that a devotee is only interested in bhakti. It's called Eka Bhakti. There is no other desire. It's very fine. If you have to read the purport of Gurujan Prabhu carefully. He's saying that the term Jnani is used to refer to one who has abandoned the pursuit of Jnana. In this case, in this verse, the term Jnani is used to describe a person who has abandoned the pursuit of Jnana. How does that sound? Confusing.
Because he has found the conclusion.
How many of you are not able to understand? Jnani is a person who has abandoned the pursuit of Jnana. Because the Jnana is already there, so why pursue it? Okay. That makes sense or not? In this mood, the mood is like that. Prabhupada's mood is coming out like that. So, Jnani is a person who has abandoned the pursuit of Jnana. Not one who uses bhakti to attain Jnana. Who uses bhakti to attain jnana. This is a very important point to understand.
You do bhakti for the bhakti. Right.
Jnani refers to a person who has already abandoned the pursuit of jnana, not one who uses bhakti to attain jnana. I'll explain. Hold on.
Question is how can one have bhakti without having jnana?
How can one have bhakti without jnana? Is that your question?
Yes, because jnana is already
Because the person who has jnana doesn't think that bhakti is the goal of jnana. That is why that person will think that jnana is the supreme.
Sorry, slowly.
The person, see, okay, let me make it very simple for you. Okay, let's not complicate. Let me make it very simple for you. I have personally met such people in my life. In my own family, I met people who think that the goal of bhakti is jnana. Have you met anyone like that? Nobody has met such a person in this room. I have met such people who say that the goal of bhakti is to jnana. Now, Mayavadi principle is also like this only. Mayavadis, for example, there is that Pancha Upasana which they do. They will worship those 5 deities. Forgot which are those. Krishna is there, definitely there. Shiva is there. Lord Ganesh is there. Durga Devi is there. Forgot the 5th. Surya. Yeah. They will worship this Pancha Upasana. They will do. Okay. They will also sing Hare Krishna, Jai Radha Madhava, anything they will also sing. तो people who are new to Krishna consciousness, they'll say, हम लोग सब जगह जाते हैं, उधर भी अच्छा लगा. आप लोग जो बोलते हैं वही बोलते हैं वो लोग. That is how they will talk. This is new people. सब जगह जाते हैं like that. And then they will do the Pancha Upasana. But what is their goal? They will say that by worshipping you Murak, you will understand that you are only that, Krishna and Rama. That is their philosophy. So by doing bhakti, you will get that jnana that you are only Bhagavan. Today you don't have that jnana. You have forgotten you are God. So when you become pure, you will become God. Ghat Akash, Pat Akash.
What is that?
What is that? This is Mayavadi philosophy. Ghat Akash, Pat Akash. Ghat means what? In Tamil we say Gadam. Pot. If you take a pot, उसके अंदर क्या है? Sky है. वो pot जब पट हो गया, तो sky है. You will merge into the supreme impersonal absolute. You don't know because you are embodied. No, you are not understanding that you are only that supreme absolute. Just that तुमको भी that God, you are God within a small body. But you will, when the body is gone, then you will realize that you are only the all-pervading supreme personality. And so am I, and so are you. So all are one. सब एक है. Like that. So they say that by doing bhakti, you will now, आपका अनर्था पूरा, all those anarthas inside your heart will go away. When anarthas go away, then the soul will shine in that Satchit Anand and become one. आप विलीन हो जाओगे. They will say like that. This is nonsense philosophy. Right? This is what Prabhupada was against. This is what we cannot tolerate. A devotee cannot tolerate this description.
So what would their answer be to what is the purpose of existence? So we have an answer.
The purpose of existence as per them?
As per them.
The purpose of existence to attain nirvana or liberation. That is their answer. Not love of Supreme Personality.
Or maybe creation. Why is it all there? If the goal was to attain nirvana, this is not a game. So we put you in here, you try to attain nirvana. And so in us we have loving relationship, rasa, that is the highest. There is some taste and something.
But that's all illusion.
It's illusion. According to them, it is illusion. The highest is nirvana.
There is nothing to be known. I can't understand that. Please don't ask me to explain. Because it's nonsense basically. It doesn't make sense.
Are they saying that by subordinating to these higher personalities, they will come out of that illusion and attain that?
There is no higher personality. You are the highest personality.
I mean, they still, if they're doing the bhakti still to attain jnana, they're still subordinating to somebody to perform that bhakti, right?
You are performing bhakti because through performing bhakti, you will get purified. To be able to understand that you are only that object of worship. Even speaking it, I feel contaminated.
Using that upasana or any bhakti, that means you are subordinate to some higher person who is in knowledge.
So, for example, I may worship Bill Gates to become like Bill Gates. So once I become Bill Gates, why I will worship him? Both are same. Forbes 500. Both are there, neck to neck. That's all. Over. Isn't it? You will understand. You will reach there. That's all. It's something like that. Ghatakash Patakash. If you understand Ghatakash Patakash, you will understand everything. You are inside. What is outside is the same as what is inside the pot. Once the pot is gone, then you will understand that you are that.
Who put the pot?
Huh? Who? Don't ask me, ask them. Why do you think Prabhupada said it? Who put the pot? Yeah. Good question. Beyond that, they cannot answer. Why we fell down and all that.
What is the answer to this?
They will say Brahman comes in contact with three modes of material nature and assumes a body.
Assumes the body.
When Brahman then comes out of the body, Brahman will realize that it is Brahman. You are Brahman, I am Brahman, sab ek hai.
What is the answer to Ghatakash Patakash?
What is the answer to Ghatakash Patakash? Come at 4:30, I will give you Mahaprasad. Put it in their mouth. That is the answer. There is no answer.
Because their understanding is only up to the Brahman.
You can awaken a person who is only genuinely asleep. जो सोया नहीं है उसको कहाँ से जगा सकते हैं? Someone who is pretending,
but wrong.
you cannot do anything with them. You cannot change these people. There is no answer.
No philosophical answer.
No philosophy. Prashadam has to go inside, that's all. Because they will keep on arguing on the same point. See, they are referring to a wrong source first of all. Then when you say Prabhupada as it is, they will say, no, sab bhakti wala hai. Change kar diye. Everyone thinks that their Bhagavad Gita is as it is. That is the problem. The self, everywhere it will be written like that. Krishna is not there. You do a control F, you will never find about Krishna, and it is Bhagavad Gita. How is it possible? The self, everything. The self, surrender unto the self.
So it's interesting, that Brahmani Pratishtha, they would be saying that
You are Brahman. Correct.
That means you are Krishna.
Huh? Yes. You know, they are also Krishna. We are all. Krishna is what? Krishna is just a manifestation of Parabrahman. When Brahman comes in contact with the material nature, it displays. Some personalities, they represent Brahman more than the others. Therefore, they are able to do very supreme whatever. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Mayavadi Bhashya Sunile Haya Sarvanash. We will be finished by hearing this philosophy. So we don't want to even listen to the philosophy. We just understand from a preaching point of view. Otherwise, even discussing it, we will lose our faith. It's so nonsense philosophy it is.
So Prabhu, you are explaining that Burijan Prabhu's sentence.
Yeah, Burijan Prabhu is saying that in this verse it is referred, Jnani is referred to one who has abandoned the pursuit of Jnana. Such a person is the highest Jnani. Na? A person who understands that Bhakti is above Jnana is the highest Jnana. That is also a knowledge. No? That's what he said. Okay.
Go to the second part.
Not one who uses Bhakti as a means to Jnana. Which is what I was explaining all this time.
Correct, yeah, understood.
This refers me to the Ajamin's past and where he was having the knowledge but he was not having bhakti, where he was diverted.
Correct. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Ajamil had all the knowledge that one should not, when two people are having intimate union, then one should not watch. But because he didn't have bhakti, then he watched. And because he didn't have bhakti, he watched and immediately he wanted to. What happened? That scene remained within his heart. He started meditating on that and then he finally married the prostitute. And then when he was leaving his body, then Yamadutas came. Fortunately, he named his son Narayana. He called out Narayana, therefore Vishnudutas came and protected him. So, only by bhakti we can get that strength, inner strength. Our Vishwatma Prabhu's wife, Vidarbha Kumari Mataji, you know that? Vedashri Mataji. She was telling me once, maybe in Yamunalila, how once in Pune, after she became devotee, before she became devotee, she used to go to some Mayavadi, whatever, building, mutt or whatever they call it. So they went inside and then the disciples were all sitting and the Guru was sitting like this. He was sitting like this. There was a stool kept here and he was sitting with both his legs like this. And he was watching cricket, T20. What is this? What is this? What will you do? Guru is putting like that and watching television. This we are also doing in the house. And then for that also they will give some philosophy. They will say it is my Leela and whatever. So then it is pointless. So there are people, because fortunately some of us have not gone through all those processes. So we have directly come to Bhakti. So we don't know that there is a world out there where people are getting cheated. Because we didn't get cheated. But एक बार वो घाट का दूध जो पी के आता है ना, पानी, हाँ पानी, घाट का पानी पी के आता है.
घाट घाट का पानी पी के आता है, that person, he is able to then understand that we are very fortunate. How fortunate you are, you will know if you have, how fortunate you are to use an original product. You will appreciate better if you have always used spurious products and then damaged your life. Okay. So a devotee is not even interested in that liberation. What the Ghatakash, Patakash people say, when the ghat breaks, then you are liberated because you will merge into the impersonal absolute. Devotees are not interested in that kind of liberation. So therefore, the Lord says that this type of devotee is very dear. This type of devotee is so dear to the Lord that the Lord is not even characterizing this type of devotee as the best devotee. There is a difference between this type of devotee is the best and there is a higher connotation when you say this type of devotee is the most dear to me. There is a best and then the most dear. So best has got a flavor of achievement. Dear has got a flavor of affection. Does it make sense? So that is the problem in jnana. In jnana it's all about achieving something. Whereas in bhakti it's all about being awarded with love of the Lord. So there is it's very subtle. That's why the Guruji Prabhu's purport is brilliant over there in that section. Not only an appreciative tone, but an affectionate tone. The Lord is speaking in an affectionate tone for the devotee, not in an appreciative mood. That best. No, dear. Like our child, we can say, Beta, you are the best. Or Beta, you are very dear to me. See the difference? One is achievement oriented, one is love oriented. And then Burjan Prabhu further makes a point that all others, what is that, Artharthi and distress, all these people, they may leave Krishna consciousness once their distress is alleviated or their material desires are fulfilled. Such people are called as fair weather devotees. Sabko jab first class chal raha hai, to they will do bhakti. Do you know of any such devotee?
Yes.
Who is that?
I myself.
Yourself. I am also there with you in that club. When everything is good, job is first class, wife is first class, health, everyone's good health, children doing very well in education, then it's easy to do bhakti. 16 round, 4 regulative principles, preach about Krishna everywhere, make devotees. But when you are really down, when everything is going against you, and then can we still say that bhakti is very... That is our depth. That is where our depth will be tested. Till that time our knowledge may be tested. But our depth will be tested at that time. Are we really having faith in Krishna in trying situations? You heard about? I remember Gangeshwar Prabhu in that aspect in our congregation. Gangeshwar Prabhu, when he was going through tough time, Mataji was serious and found hope and continued the treatment. But still, I remember Mataji is in the hospital, but he is probably giving Bhagavatam class. Gangeshwar Prabhu.
He was giving Bhagavatam class. So this is a sign of a very advanced devotee. You have to take the dust of Gangeshwar Prabhu's feet and rub it on our head. In that situation, he was giving Bhagavatam class. And I have never seen any kind of fear. He was absolutely Krishna conscious. So that is bhakti. Bhakti is not about just giving big classes. Bhakti is about being a devotee in the most trying of circumstances and having complete faith. Rakshishiti sa viswaso. That is one of the symptoms of surrender. That the Lord will protect. I am very sure He will protect. Now, yes, even if the Lord does not protect, then what? Tattenu kampam, that is another verse, even above that. That even in that situation, then you bow down to the Lord and say that I deserved worst, you have given me a token. Just imagine. Just imagine our family members going through a deadly disease, they are leaving the body, and then we thinking that, oh my Lord, you have just given me a token reaction, I deserve the best. And continue your devotional service with the same zeal and then liberation becomes your rightful claim. This is too much. Sometimes when you really, it's easy to buy out this verse, it's easy to write a Bhakti Vaibhav exam and get a certificate, and saying that, oh, you are a very good student and blah 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 blah. But it is very difficult to live that. So that's a huge difference between jnana and bhakti. The gap looks like small, but it is huge. Just having knowledge and having that bhakti. So that is a function of our chanting.
The recent example of Ananta Shanti Prabhu passing away, what he did and what he went through until he left the body. When it even, just like Indrajna Maharaj is offering to him, what he actually went through is unthinkable in that sense in terms of physical and mental pain. Normally we can understand, okay, it's the past karma must have been burned and now it will be received very nicely. But what is shocked because it is not properly protected until the very end, even though after his glorious service to the movement. What message can we take out of that whole experience that he went through?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. We need a very highly realized person to comment on the life of these kind of personalities. Like for example, when the Nepal air disaster happened, I had the same question. Why? Why devotees? And then Govind Prabhu, when he lectured, he said we have to see Krishna when he does not come. And that's a big challenge. To see Krishna when he does not come. Because every time when the plane is going to crash, then Narasimhadev Bhagavan comes and lifts the plane like that, then so everybody will become devotee. No? They will know, I will chant, therefore Lord will always come like that. But sometimes, so our faith is tested when the Lord apparently doesn't seem to be crying. See, we don't know what those devotees underwent. No? We don't know who came, what happened. Maybe they didn't realize any pain. We don't know all that. We are just seeing the external situation, which looks very ghastly. We are seeing the body, which is probably not there or burnt up. But we don't know what they experienced. We don't know. Isn't it? The moment the soul is taken away from the body, then it doesn't matter whether the body is charged or whether the body is whatever, because you are not the body. So how the Lord, and the Lord says that I will come at the time of death to protect my devotees. So what they have undergone and what we are perceiving, there could be a big gap. That is why I am saying this is a subject matter which we cannot understand. We have to only hear from senior devotees to understand these kind of things. Very difficult otherwise to reconcile. But we are all, definitely there is one thing. Our distress is much lesser as a devotee. Everyone will accept that, right? That much we have seen. So that is it. That is true, that must also be true. Isn't it? Okay. So the other devotees may leave Krishna consciousness once their distress is alleviated or their material desires are fulfilled. Such people are called as fair weather devotees, whose devotional service is a function of good health, wealth, settling down. हम लोग settle हो जाएंगे, बाद में करेंगे भक्ति, all those things. So तीव्र भक्ति should not wait for anything else. There was this Karunanidhi Prabhu had sent this nice article. The worker was working downstairs and the construction manager was sitting upstairs. The construction manager wanted to call the worker. So what he did first, he threw a 5 rupee note. The worker took the 5 rupee note, put it in his pocket and did not look at him. Then he drew 10 rupee note. Then he drew 500 rupee note. And every time he was taking and putting in the pocket. Then finally the manager thought, "Abhi isko sikhata hu main." Ek patthar liya aur dala niche. It is and then he looked. So that is how our reciprocation is with the Lord. When he is giving us facilities, nice life, etc., that time we are not serious about bhakti. So we are waiting. Chalo aur ek chahiye bamboo. Then we will start looking at it like that. So what to do? लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानेगी. So, in full knowledge of absolute truth, here, when Prabhupada is mentioning, that means one who is completely free of material desires and engage in pure bhakti. So, this is text 17, what we are hearing now. Now, after hearing text 17, one may conclude that the three Karma Mishra Bhaktas who have been mentioned before are insignificant and only a Jnani is important. We may think like that, no? But Baki log kya hai? No, they are lesser. Only Jnani is important. Therefore, anticipating that our mind will tell us this, Lord Krishna is now speaking verse 18. Let us go to verse 18. All these devotees are undoubtedly, Prabhu, Rajkumar Prabhu, can you share Bhagavad Gita with Nitin Prabhu? All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls. All these devotees, see Lord is saying, all these devotees, जो distress में है वो भी magnanimous soul है. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain the highest and most perfect goal. Is it a big purport or small? Small one. Okay, let's read it. Sheshadri Prabhu, you want to read?
It is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma or a great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit, and when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. The devotees are always in my heart, and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me.
So, all these devotees are called as magnanimous. Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udari. Tivrena bhakti yogyana yajjeta purushanta. So, whether you are akama means what? You don't have any material desire. Or sarva kama, आपको पूरा material desire चाहिए. Whether you are akama or sarva kama, moksha kama udari, or you want liberation, regardless of any goal that you have, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, perform intense devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yajjeta Purusham Para, regardless of anything. Therefore, all these devotees are called as magnanimous. So, they are called as Mahatma. Anyone who comes, even in distress, and asks the Lord is called as Mahatma. Because there is some exchange of affection here. Some exchange of affection. For example, even if a child goes to the mother and says that, Mother, I am having problem. Like that. Mother will not say, Kya kaam ke liye aaya na mere paas abhi? Problem hai to. Will you say like that? You will still be very happy. Oh, my dear child, not going anywhere outside, coming to me with a problem. So similarly, the Lord also thinks. That is why He is calling them Mahatmas. Correct, no? In fact, with today's children, the problem is that they don't come to parents. They go outside somewhere with their problem. That is a major problem. That is why Mataji is starting teenager program. Correct? No, not Madhavanand Prabhu, you should not nod. You have not had this experience. We will see in course of time. Jnani. So all teenage parents will appreciate it. It is those parents are fortunate whose children come to them with issues rather than going outside. So, but the Lord is calling them as Mahatmas. He is very happy because there is an affection there. No? But you have come to the Lord with your problem. Of course, that is not Uttama Bhakti. So, even though these people have material desires, because they are coming to the Lord, they are called as Mahatma. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, who is a pure devotee? So what Mahaprabhu said? Who is a devotee? Sorry, he was asked. What Mahaprabhu said? Anyone who chants even once Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a. Then in another situation he said, anyone who is constantly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a devotee. And on the third occasion he said, anyone who, by seeing who others are inspired to chant is a devotee. So there are different levels, but all are devotees. He is under the, mathematical set of devotees, all these people come. So we are seeing similar mood of the Lord here. Now the Lord says, but such a jnani is my very self. The Lord is saying, such a jnani is my, you see the translation? Such a jnani is my, is it there or no? Yeah. Such a jnani whose bhakti predominates over his other tendencies. What is his other tendency? Jnana. What is predominating that jnana? Bhakti. Now there is reversal. Okay? That personality, that jnani whose bhakti predominates over his other tendencies is my very self, the Lord says. He is my very self. So what is the implication? What is the Lord trying to say here? I accept him as my very self because he has concluded that I, in the form of Shyam Sundar, is the supreme goal. Not dissolution of someone's identity in Brahman. So the Lord is simply glorifying the devotee over the Mayavadi for having understood his personal form. That jnana which says that jnana where the form of the Lord predominates over the formlessness of the Lord. Such a person who acknowledges the form of the Lord as the highest is my very own self, the Lord is saying. But then, the devotee who is jnana karmani anavritam, who is completely pure and who has no desires at all, the Lord considers greater than his own self. So such a person who is jnani, who has now understood from the formlessness, who has come to the form, acknowledge the high superiority of the form of the Lord, is like the Lord's own self. But that person who has nothing to do with all this jnana, okay, who has no desires at all, and who considers, so such a person, the Lord considers greater than his own self. Am I communicating or have I lost? That person, once more I will try. That person, see we are talking about 4 types. Artha, Arthartha, Jigyasu, Jnani. Jnani is the highest. Correct? That person whose jnana is now matured to a point that he has jnana he has enough jnana that the form aspect of the God is above the formless aspect of the Lord, is considered to be my own self. But that person who removes all this jnana, who is simply attached to me, says, I don't want to do all this. Chant and be happy. Simple. I don't want any jnana. Correct? That person is what? More dear to me than my very own self. That's all. He's simply saying that. So which means jnana karma di anavritam. Again and again it comes to that Rupa Goswami's verse. There is no tinge of jnana. It's not required. The key lesson which we derive from this is it is the simplicity of heart which is required for Krishna consciousness. All this jnana is to make us simple at heart, not complicated at heart. Simple at heart. The Lord accepts that simplicity. Correct? Shall I tell you a pastime or no? Yes. We may go a bit slow in the course.
We have extra classes.
No extra classes. Some of you may already know this. This is from a book, and I know some of you it may be repetition, so please bear with me. This is from a book called The Saints of Vraj. Vraj came. Srila Prabhupada got to the Adi Keshava Prabhu wrote this. OBL Kapoor. Avadh Bihari Lal Kapoor. He was Prabhupada's contemporary. There was a very pastime which touched me there. It was the very first pastime. There is this boy whose name is Bondu. I have told this pastime before. You have heard this before? Yeah, Bondu. Bondu means what? Buddhu. Almost. Bondu. Who will be given name Bondu? Correct, no? So this Bondu is a simple cowherd boy. Now this Bondu's spiritual master is a Mahabhagavat. He has studied and drunk Bhagavata. Like that. And he gives Bhagavatam classes. So Bondu is his assistant. So what happens is, he has heard that his Bhagavatam teacher always tell that Krishna and Balram, they are white in color and then they is blue in color. Both of them come to the forest every day. Ashtakaliya Leela, they will come with the cows, etc., etc. So Bondu has been listening. He is just listening from outside. He's doing some activities and listening. And then he is going to the forest too. He takes all the cows. He's Bondu. He takes all the cows and goes. So he's feeling bored in the forest. He says, I want someone to play with. So, but what he says, that guru, he told that there is one black boy and white boy who come, like that. So then he says, they must be there then. I want to search for them. And he searches for this black boy and this white boy. And then what happens? His search is so intense for this black boy and the white boy that the black boy and white boy appear with the cows, like that. So they see, Bondu sees, and Bondu goes and just, hey, I was been looking for you, like that. Not that, oh, Krishna! Please accept my obeisance at your lotus feet. No. He has no jnana of the godhood of God. He is just going and then, oh yeah, I was looking for you, you guys, both of you. So yeah, let's play, whatever. And then he starts playing. So every day he goes, he's sharing tiffin box, lunch, with this black boy and white boy. And he comes back. So one day when the spiritual master is lecturing, he says, yeah, I met this. I'm playing with them anyway. Like that. And spiritual master, Bhagavad. क्या बात कर रहा है बस? मैं तो सिर्फ lecture कर रहा हूँ. I'm giving lecture every day. You say you are playing with them. Say, yeah, I'm playing with them. Like that. Then he said, okay, then can you introduce me to these people? I will come with you. He says, okay, I'll ask them. He says, okay, you can also come and play with them. Like that. So he goes back to the forest and he asks Krishna and Balram, the white boy and the black boy, next day. He says that, look, there is the Mahabhagavat is there, my spiritual master. He wants to come here and play. The Lord says, no, sir. Too much jnana. Mahabhagavat, position, this is that. So no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You play with us. Simple, like that. And then Bodhu says, no, you have to meet him, like that. You cannot not meet him. You have to meet him. Lord says, nahi bhai, it will not happen. We cannot meet him. That's all. So Bondu tells them, if you will not meet him, I will never talk to you again. I will not see your face. Like that, Bondu he walks off. Not that, अरे भाई भगवान का दर्शन है, चलो करते हैं, बाद में जाके सब लोग को बोलते हैं, prestige बढ़ेगा society. No, not like that. He just walks off. He says, no. If you don't accept my spiritual master, I will not accept you. And then what happens? The Lord, feeling separation from Bondu, the Lord runs after him and says, Bondu, don't go away from me, please. Lord is really feeling separation. He says, no, please don't threaten me like that. No, you come. You call your spiritual master, okay? No problem. I will give him darshan. So Bondu goes, gets his spiritual master. The Lord gives him darshan. Now, so where is Jnana here? This is one very good example I could recollect. That how simplicity is more important than being Jnani.
How do we get rid of that knowledge?
I knew it. How do we get rid of this knowledge? I have given this example before. When the rocket is supposed to be launched into space, then you have to, then the rocket has to be launched through booster. So what happens is, the booster rocket actually is it's called as payload. So this booster rocket is required. You can't say, नहीं भाई वजन बहुत हो रहा है rocket का. अरे वो वजन चाहिए भाई पहला, नहीं तो rocket जाएगा नहीं ऊपर. But once the rocket has gone up, then chuck it in the Pacific Ocean. because now the thing can fly on its own. Like that. So that knowledge is required to lift us beyond the three modes of material nature. But when one is established in that bhakti, then booster rocket. What is that called? It is a typical word to release that. Can't remember that word. Jettison. Jettison. It is jettisoned. Like that. Okay. To jettison that knowledge. Jnana karmadi anavritam.
We don't have to do anything, bro. Maya will take care of that. Just like we are not doing anything, Maya is taking care of it.
We can't not do anything. We have to do something.
When we get to that platform, then it's the least of our worries because it will get taken care by itself.
Actually, when you get to that platform, you will not know that you are jettisoned there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, this is what I was telling you.
You will not know that we are
take care of
jettisoned.
it. So the Lord's energies will take care of that.
See, we have that one classic, case in our example, not case, example in our congregation. If you see Jai Jagannath Prabhu, that day, Friday when I was chanting Mangalarti, he was going around and around and I could see his face is bright and effulgent. Jai Jagannath Prabhu's face, you see, is bright, childlike and effulgent, and the childlike innocence is there. And you can clearly see this is the goal where we have to reach. Just seeing him, you feel like, oh yeah, and I am a very complicated personality. I can speak big verses, but complex person within. So we have to become simple like that. Then go back. Becomes like that will come. You go to him, Prabhu.
It's very difficult to.
I said, I can't do that to everyone.
Opportunity to show your simplicity in the next exam paper.
Which one? Yes. Mullah ke daud masjid tak.
Question, example of Bondu, this pastime. What is the difference between Sahajiya and this Bondu example?
Sahajiya and Bondu means what will happen when I hear this pastime. Tomorrow I will also start going to the forest and I will go and tell Devamrit Swami that I went to the forest. Krishna is meeting me every day. That is called as Sahajiya. I am trying to imitate that pastime to get prestige, like that. That is called as Sahajiya. You are trying to prematurely imitate that pastime. It is not real. Sahajiya means what? That means you are not realized Bhagavan, but you are externally depicting the symptoms of that person who has actually seen Bhagavan. Yeah. So your question is, how do we know that we are advancing? We are at that stage. See, I don't know. I'm not a realized person to answer the question, but I will again answer through my jnana only. From what I have heard, especially from my spiritual master's lectures only, I can tell you. When your heart is not envious, when you don't perform any element of bhakti with a desire for recognition. When you are completely happy doing devotional service, regardless of whether you are recognized, not recognized, respected, not respected, acknowledged, not acknowledged, just being servant of servant. There is no desire to come to the forefront. Just that serving the Lord itself becomes a pleasure for us. At that time we can understand that we have jettisoned all other things. When there is no envy inside the heart for anyone.
Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch. So, does that mean that the spiritual world is here itself? Like you don't have to try anything. Generally, we see all the big charts and 7 layers. And
Good question. I asked this question in 2001 to my Shiksha Guru at that time, Sanjay Krishna Chandra Guru in Japan. Same question I asked him. So he told me, no, the spiritual world is a physical realm. It's a physical realm, but being in that realm is also a state of the mind. Both are true.
Being in that.
That's why Prabhupada did not say Krishna world. Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness. Please understand the word Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means what? That means in this material world, you are physically there, but you are not, your consciousness is not in this world. It's simple. Prabhupada gives a beautiful example. Prabhupada says that the wife is cooking for the husband. but her mind is thinking, चल इसको खाना बना के lover के पास भागते हैं, let me meet my paramour.
Then one doubt, sorry to drag this on. One doubt which comes in one of the lectures I had, it's not something vertical, which is higher than the material world. Like then in that.
No, it's higher. Higher means higher actually.
In that lecture it was saying then higher for India, maybe lower for.
That is true.
USA.
Yeah, it is not higher from the geography defined by mankind.
What sense then does he have? In what sense then?
These planets are located. See, man knows only three. Na? X, Y, Z is what we know. We know only 3 dimensions. So we can only visualize a coordinate in terms of X, Y, and Z. But that is what we know. We have a scientist sitting here. Should tell us. There may be multiple dimensions which are not known to mankind. So for us, it's very difficult to decipher the descriptions of the 5th canto of Bhagavatam. How can you describe orange juice falling down, waterfalls of orange juice and all that. See, when I think I was mentioning somewhere, maybe in a lunchtime, I don't know where I mentioned this, but the most bewildering to me was that Ganga comes from the spiritual world. Okay, it is said Ganga, when Vamana Avatar went and put the 3rd foot, then the toe cracked the layer of the material world, the Anda, right? And then outside the material world is what? The Viraja river, the Karanadaksha ocean, which is touching the feet of Mahavishnu. So then it comes through that hole into the material world. It flows through various planets, and then comes down to earth through Alakananda.
Celestial planes.
Huh?
It's mentioned the celestial planes will carry that.
The celestial planes carry that actually. Planes are carrying the Ganga and putting it in the Alakananda. Now you are thinking, ये तो मैंने कोई देखा नहीं ऐसा वाला एयरलाइन. I have not seen. And how water is flowing, through space and whatever. You can't understand all that. But that's because we only understand 3 states of matter, or maybe 4: solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, or something. We don't understand that there may be other possibilities that are there. See, for example, if you look at this, a cloud is a water tank at the end of the day, which if pierced by an aircraft also does not leak. If someone speaks like this, they will say, "Hey, कैसा हो सकता है? Water tank में छेद पड़ गया तो पानी गिरेगा नीचे." But cloud is a water tank, and an airline is going through that, and it doesn't leak. So then it requires a different way of thinking now to understand this. So like that, there can be many realms which we don't understand, but doesn't mean they are not possible. But answering your first question, it is the consciousness. Consciousness can always be in the spiritual world, regardless of body being in the material world. Then you are set to be in the spiritual world. That's why you are called as Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta matlab kya? That being in this material world, you are not of this material world. Jivan Mukta means simple, that you are beyond the 3 modes of material nature. You are not in the control of the 3 modes of material nature anymore. Physically you may be here. But Prabhupada was there, no? Prabhupada used to walk like this, and sometimes people used to say, Prabhupada, he used to look somewhere, and where is he looking? The spiritual world was there in front of him. Prabhupada used to just look like that, spiritual world. Something is going on there. That look was not of this world. You cannot understand that. I mean, it's too much of a speculation if you try to answer. Now, understanding this question about Jnani, that Jnani will come down to the platform of Bhakta, the question is, how long does it take the Jnani to attain that level of devotion? How long does it take the Jnani to attain the level of Bhakti? That is answered in text number 19. What is text 19? This is a very famous key memory verse again, please note down. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma suddha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge. See, after many births and deaths, he who is in knowledge. That means वो knowledge platform में many births and deaths हो सकता है. See the beauty. What to speak of those people who do not even have that knowledge, who are just simply working like asses and donkeys, to get some promotion in office. What to speak of those 2 legged donkeys? Correct, no? Chance ही नहीं. So even with this jnana, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge, surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Very rare. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked, how many pure devotees are there in this world? And what did Prabhupada say? How many devotees are there in ISKCON? Okay. So let us read this purport.
The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals, after many births, may actually become situated in transcendental, pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some learning towards impersonalism. There is some leaning towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to Him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Shri Krishna's mercy is everything, that He is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from Him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of the spiritual variegatedness, and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudeva or Shri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna as the highest goal.
Okay, that's good. So, Srila Prabhupada is writing, so the points here are that pure bhakti is sudurlabha. There are 6 characteristics of bhakti. What are the characteristics? Kleshagni, Shubhada, Sudurlabha, Moksha Laguta Akashta, Sadrananda Visheshatma and Krishna Akashma. Don't worry if you don't remember this, because we are going to do all this when you do the Nectar of Devotion book. We have not done that in class. Just because many of them have been coming for our Bhakti Vriksha program before that, that's why they are able to tell us. Okay? So, these are the 6 characteristics. One characteristic out of that is what? That bhakti is extremely rare. Pure devotional service is rarely attained. Sudurlabha. Why it is rarely attained? Because when one becomes a pure devotee, what happens? One can start controlling God. When one becomes a pure devotee, one can start controlling Bhagavan, who is otherwise the supreme controller. The Lord gives you power of attorney. Who will you give power of attorney to? Only a person who you completely trust. The Artha, the Jigyasu and the Artharthi must come to the Jnani's level before going back to Godhead. One has to come to Nishkama and from that level fully surrender. We already discussed this. Bhakti is rare even amongst these Jnanis, and the development of Bhakti takes a long time. So we have to have enthusiasm, utsaha. See, it takes many lifetimes also, not one lifetime. Yes, it's good to think that we will all go back in this lifetime, and maybe we will, by mercy quota. But otherwise, Lord Krishna here is talking about merit quota. Merit quota takes many. That's why we are very fortunate to be in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Kali Yuga Avatar Chaitanya Nitaya Papa Pashanda Nahi Maya. No, even though we are third class rascal, Lord Nityananda says, just chant 16 rounds. No? Krishna Prem is given free of cost. No? There is a sale going on right now. In Kali Yuga, Bhakti ka sale laga hai. Muft mein milta hai. Kali chanting karne ka bas. This opportunity you will not get. Otherwise Krishna's standards are very high. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma wo bhi durlabh hai. Chance hi nahi. No, none of us are near. Yeah.
So quick question, you know how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes only once in a day of Brahma. So there are 1000 Yuga cycles. So others who come in the other Kali Yugas, for them it's like very almost impossible.
Correct. It has been impossible for us also. Yeah. We have gone through those yugas. And that's why we are here now. But this yuga, we are very fortunate. Just chant and go back. How fortunate we are. So bhakti is rare. Now, Bhajan Prabhu is writing, but association speeds up the process. By association, one understands that Vasudeva Sarvamiti. This is only possible by association of devotees. Full knowledge implies to know Vasudeva as the cause of all causes. That is what Lord is saying. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. To understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes takes many, many lifetimes. And that platform is called as Vishuddha Sattva. The Prabhupada writes about Vasudeva consciousness. Vasudeva consciousness is a stage. Vasudeva consciousness simply means Shuddha Sattva, the mode of pure goodness. So that stage one has to reach. There is an interesting verse also here, in this regard. It's Srimad Bhagavatam 4.3.23. Just refer that verse. If any one of you want to. Many times, especially those who all are engaged in preaching, many times people ask us, Shiva is above Krishna. Many people will ask you this question. Immediately you must quote from 4.3.23. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yad Yate Tatra Puman Apavritah Sattve Cha Tasmin Bhagavan Vasudeva Hi Adokshajo Me Namasa Vidiyate. This verse is what happened? Okay. So this verse, anyone has got what is it called as? Internet. Hey, verse Mila? What is Lord Shiva saying? Lord Shiva, please understand, Lord Shiva is telling his consort. Lord Shiva is telling his consort. Who is his consort here? Daksha. Yeah, daughter of Daksha. Sati. Yeah. Lord Shiva is telling Sati that I am also engaged in worshipping the, paying obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Can you read the purport for us?
I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva.
Okay, stop. Yeah. I am always
engaged in offering obeisances.
I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord
Vasudeva.
Who is saying this? Now what more evidence you want? Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva himself is saying, I am always engaged in offering obeisances. So please note down, especially the preachers. Of course, which is all of us. One day all of us have to preach. Start our program, but this is a very powerful verse. Yeah. Why he is always engaged in paying obeisances to Krishna?
I am always engaged in offering obeisances.
Please hear carefully, this is a very important verse because this is very linked to this verse.
To Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering.
Is revealed without any covering. That is why it is called as Vishuddha Sattvam. Vasudeva consciousness. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. So this is talking about that Vasudeva consciousness. Which we must have. Because only in that consciousness, Lord Krishna is revealed without a covering. Even in, I think, somewhere in Isopanishad, if you read, it is said, the covering which Krishna has got is called as what? Hiranyamayena Patrena. So that covering has to be. So the Lord, please remove your Hiranyamayena Patrena so I can see you face to face. Like that. So the Lord covers himself with that. Even in that sense, the Brahman is also one type of covering. This is the Lord. Everything is Brahman, yes, no doubt about that. But for the Jnanis, the Lord covers himself through his effulgence. Be happy with my effulgence. Don't come near me. Like that. So the Lord has to remove the layer of Brahman so that you can see him face to face through the process of bhakti. And that is possible only when we are in Vasudeva consciousness. Sorry, someone had a question? Yeah.
So this Shiva that in the word that we read is Rudra, right? Not Sadashiva. All the pastimes related to Shiva and Bhagavatam are all Rudra, not Sadashiva.
Not like that, not necessarily like that.
Not necessarily.
This particular section, isn't it? It's Rup Javita, it starts from chapter 24.
But please understand one thing, even if it is Rudra, it doesn't mean Rudra is like you and me. Please understand. Yes, he is in charge of the mode of, and he can get bewildered by the three modes of nature, but still he is Lord Shiva. So he can still be the Rudra and still say this. So don't think because he is Rudra he cannot make this statement. Am I making sense or no? When Brahma can make this statement, why Rudra cannot make that statement? But Sadashiva is like almost like Krishna. Correct. Yeah. So still Sadashiva can offer obeisances to the Lord. Almost is different, no? Almost like Krishna. Still one is the milk and one is the yogurt. Other is the yogurt. The yogurt can pay obeisances to the milk, saying that because of you, I am possible. But the milk doesn't have to pay obeisances to the yogurt. Not necessarily. Still, Lord Krishna's sixth quality is what? Renunciation. He is the humblest of the humble. So he can. So I remember once I was in Bangalore. These are my initial days of Krishna consciousness. 1990. I don't remember. I just joined Infosys 2000. So at that time I used to attend some program in Bangalore. So the husband was giving a class, and then someone immediately asked, why did Ram go and pay obeisances pay his respects to Shiva before he killed Ravan? And the husband could not answer actually. And the wife was cooking inside. The husband was, in Marathi we said Tata Papa. He was started doing Tata Papa. And then the wife came from there. And then she put her this thing and she answered. That is because Lord Krishna has got six qualities. One of the qualities, he is the most humblest of the humble. That humility quality also, he is the most humble. So he wanted to, because Shiva had given Ravana some vardhan. Therefore he wanted to tell Shiva out of his respect. Because he is also Maryada Purushottam. Ram was Maryada Purushottam. He will never transgress etiquettes. So it is an etiquette. Oh, see, I have empowered you. Based on that, you have given him some powers. Now I am just letting you know that I am finishing it. So it's an etiquette. Like that. For example, if you are the general manager, if the deputy general manager has recruited someone who is not performing, but as a general manager you have to take a call to remove that person, then you can go to the deputy general manager and tell him that, look, Mr. Mishra, I am sorry, but I had to do this. He reports to you, but fine, you have given him some powers, but he is misusing that, so I am going to finish him. So it's almost like that. So you cannot just simply, because of that one incident, say that, oh, Shiva is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna even drives Arjuna's chariot. Doesn't mean Arjuna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, because why Lord Krishna is becoming chariot? Because he is like that. He becomes the servant of his devotee. Like that. But here, Lord Shiva is clearly saying, I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vishnu. Okay. And in that purport, in the 4.3.23, the point is that our body also has to be seen as a temple of Vishnu. That jnana we need to have, which can be used. The body, mind and words can be used in the service of Lord Krishna. Okay. Now we have, see, in this particular section we have been constantly discussing the four types of people who do not surrender. We saw who are those four people. Namam Dushkritina Muda, Napadyante Naradama, Maya Apravyajnana, Asuram Bhavashita. Four types of impious people we saw. Then we saw the four types of people who surrender. Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasa, Jnani. So we saw people who surrender and who do not surrender. Now there is a third dimension to it. What about those people? We saw people who do not surrender to Krishna. We saw people who surrender to Krishna. But what about those people who surrender but not to Krishna? We saw people who will not surrender at all. What to speak of surrendering to Krishna? We saw people who will surrender to Krishna. Now we are talking about people who will surrender but not to Krishna. उसके बारे में अभी next 3 verses are going to talk about this type of people.
So people who are neither in the 4 types of impious nor in the 4 types of pious which have been mentioned thus far. So that is from text 20 and 21. Let us see that. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods. Now we have come to people who are देवी देवताओं के भक्त. देवा हो देवा, गणपति देवा, तुमसे बढ़कर कौन? And after that what do they say? हमसे बढ़कर कौन? The next line. No, this is the consciousness. Correct, no? So there is no understanding and anything goes because it rhymes like that. And in India people sing these songs. You take the Ganpati procession, no? People will start singing all these songs like that. So therefore, the intelligence of the people who are worshipping demigods, that is stolen by material desires. There is no logic to this. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. This whole concept of Visarjan and all, I was hearing in one lecture, none of this is scriptural. Somebody started, I think, who is that? Lokmanya Tilak. He started it, people say. None of this is scriptural. They take big statues and then there is competition. Lalbagh Ganpati is big or this Ganpati is big or that Ganpati is big. And most of the time people come to your house, they ask you, "Hey, if you give them 50 rupees, 50 nahi, 200 dene ka." You know, they will say, "What is this? For the Lord or what?" Like that. And then another group will come. हम लोग इधर नहीं, हम लोग सार्वजनिक वाला है. In Bombay, we have another Ganpati. You give there. Otherwise they'll harass you. Some gunda will stand like that. You see his face, you will automatically give 500 rupees more. You come, but don't come here again. Not like that. So these are all what? And then what will happen? They will put that, they will do all that, puja or whatever, and remaining they will pocket. Even in holy people will come. In Bombay it's all prevalent. Anything goes. People will do devotional service according to their own natures. Like that. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. How much time do we have? We will discuss this in the next class. Srila Prabhupada ki.